Welcome to your daily 5-minute crypto brief with Satoshi and Nova. Today is June 25th, 2025. I am Nova.
I am Satoshi. So let's kick off with the market itself. A bit of a rebound, right? Bitcoin's back over 105K after that dip below 100 top.
Yeah, modest recovery. And what's really interesting here, I think, is how much it seems tied to these bigger global things. Like the ceasefire in the Middle East definitely eased some tension.
Okay, that makes sense. Global risk reduction.
Right. But maybe the bigger push came from the Fed. Vice Chair Bowman hinted at rate cuts potentially as early as July.
Ah, the dovish signal. So cheaper money potentially coming soon.
Pretty much. And that kind of signal, well, it just multiplies these bullish tailwinds. It improves liquidity, makes investors feel a bit bolder.
So is crypto becoming more, sensitive to traditional macro stuff then? Or maybe less?
That's a really good point. I'd say more sensitive, yeah. It shows it's maturing, integrating more into the wider financial system, reacting like other assets.
Okay, speaking of integration, Japan. This really jumped out at me from the report.
Oh, yeah. What specifically?
This plan to reclassify crypto as financial products. That sounds huge.
Yeah.
And crypto ETFs, lower taxes. What's the real impact there?
It's kind of a game changer, potentially, if we connect this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Calling them financial products puts them on par with like stocks or bonds.
Right, not just some weird digital thing.
Exactly. It legitimizes the whole asset class, makes it easier, safer for traditional finance to get involved. It's part of their new capitalism thing.
Capitalism.
Yeah, basically boosting their own crypto market, getting everyone from regular folks to big institutions involved. It could position Japan as a major crypto hub in Asia, a really strong signal.
Interesting. Okay, so shifting gears a bit. What about other coins? Ripple's XRP saw a prediction, Crypto Beast, calling for $8 to $12. It's around $2 to 2 cents now. That's a big call.
It is a bold prediction, no doubt. But the optimism isn't, totally out of nowhere.
Okay.
Well, there's Ripple getting more regulatory clarity. That helps build confidence. Then you have some technical chart patterns looking strong like a bull flag.
Ah, chart stuff suggesting more upside.
Potentially, yeah. That pattern often shows up when an uptrend might continue after a pause. And analysts are seeing whale accumulation.
Meaning the big money is buying in.
Exactly. Big holders are accumulating XRP. So those things together fuel that kind of prediction.
Got it. And what about where the money's actually flowing? The report mentioned ARK Invest's Bitcoin fund, ARKB, saw decent inflows, like $43.8 million.
Yeah, that shows continued institutional confidence, right? They still see Bitcoin as a core holding. That demand seems pretty robust.
But then an Ethereum fund, ETH, saw outflows, like $26.7 million out. What do we make of that contrast?
Well, it could be a few things. Maybe some profit taking after Ethereum's had a good run, or perhaps just some short-term caution, rebalancing portfolios.
So not necessarily a bad sign for ETH long-term.
Not necessarily, no. It's pretty normal market dynamics. Investors shift things around. The Bitcoin inflow is probably the stronger signal of overall institutional sentiment right now.
Okay, this next one feels, well, pretty surprising. The U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, the FHFA, they're actually studying if crypto holdings could count towards getting a mortgage. How would that even work?
It's fascinating, isn't it? It really shows how mainstream crypto is becoming.
Seriously.
I mean, think about it. If your crypto assets, maybe stable coins or even long-term holds, could help with your down payment or income proof, it integrates digital assets right into traditional finance. It could genuinely open up home ownership for a whole group of crypto-savvy people. It's a huge potential step.
Yeah, that feels like a really big deal for acceptance.
Yeah.
And on that theme of legitimacy and trust, Coinbase helping the Secret Service.
Right, with that massive $225 million seizure.
Linked to those awful pig butchering scams.
Exactly. And that's super important. It shows that exchanges can and do work with law enforcement. It demonstrates that stolen crypto can be tracked and recovered. It fights that narrative of crypto being just for criminals. It actually highlights the transparency of the blockchain in some ways.
Builds confidence, shows the system isn't just the Wild West.
Precisely. Real-time proof that the ecosystem is maturing on the security front, too.
So looking back at the day, our deep dive shows the market ending on a pretty bullish note overall.
Yeah, I'd say so. Fueled by those global events, the Fed signals these big regulatory shifts like in Japan. The sentiment feels quite positive.
But always with a dose of caution, right?
They're always, but you see both retail and institutions engaged, looking more long-term again.
So for you, our listener, the takeaway is this landscape is changing fast. Digital assets are weaving themselves more and more into the financial fabric. Which leads us to our final provocative thought. As crypto becomes more central, how might your own view of what a traditional investment even is? How might that need to evolve?
Something to think about.